Well, hi there, food friends. Welcome to Cavalcade of Food. I'm Kevin.
Hey there, I'm Ralph behind the camera.
And today, it's all about bread.
And it's very orangey in here.
Well, it's orange because we're making an orange cinnamon bread.
Like a frosted bread or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like a, coffee type bread, breakfast bread. And I bought a big block of yeast at the warehouse store, and so anyways, now I'm like, what am I going to make with all this yeast? I'm going to make breads. So here's what I've got. I've got 2/3 of a cup of water, very warm, not hot though. I put it in the microwave for about 45 seconds.
Okay.
All right. And I've got 4.5 teaspoons of yeast. That would be like a couple of packets if you buy yeast in the packets. And we add the yeast to the warm water, and you can see, Ralph, what happens. Well, you get that yeasty smell right away. Can you smell it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we're going to do is we're just going to dissolve it by stirring it around. Okay?
Okay, I'm with you so far.
So far, so good. So, okay, we got the yeast dissolved. Now, to the yeast and water mixture, we are going to add, some salt, milk, sugar, and margarine. So first I've got a cup of milk here, also warm. We're going to put the milk in. Okay?
Just regular whole milk.
Just regular whole milk. We use 2%. I've got 3/4 of a cup of sugar.
Oh.
I'm going to put that in there.
Doesn't sugar and yeast do something?
Well, the sugar feeds the yeast, actually.
Oh,
Sugar's
okay.
like their food. Then I've got 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay. Then I've got 1/2 stick of margarine. I'm going to put that in there. Okay. That's soft, and I kind of want that to melt up a little bit.
Is that preferable to butter?
Yeah, because it's got a little bit more oil. This is going to give us a little bit more
moisture?
Well, yeah.
Cookability?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I knew it was something scientific like that.
And so, look, I'm just stirring this around.
Combining all that stuff so it gets kind of broken down and condensed and not so splashy.
Yeah, okay. Then the next is I got 2 eggs here. Okay. Once I've got that margarine kind of blended in, I'm going to add these 2 eggs.
That's the first orange color thing going in.
Okay.
Well, actually the second if you count the yeast.
So now we've we've got this liquid here. So we've got eggs, margarine, milk, sugar, salt,
water,
exactly, yeast.
I just love all the colors. You've got these golden raisins, this orange zest.
So what I've done is I've zested 2 small oranges. I've got the zest kind of sitting off the side. Some of it's going to go in the bread. Some of it's going to go in the frosting or icing. Then I've got 3/4 of a cup of yellow raisins here, just soaking in water, not hot water. I'm not trying to rehydrate them. I'm just trying to soften them up. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
I love your yellow mixer you got over there, that KitchenAid.
You like that? Not a beaut? So now what we're going to do is we've got the liquid. We're going to start adding flour. Okay? Now I've got some flour here that I've sifted, and we're going to start by putting 3 cups. Let me get a knife here to level things off. We're going to put 3 cups of flour into this.
Okay.
Okay. 1. This recipe calls for about 6 to 7 cups of flour total. It's going to make 2 loaves. 1, 2, 3.
So you just start with the first 3, or do you put all 6 in?
We start with the first 3.
I got you.
Okay. So now we're going to let our mixer kind of do some of the work for us here. Okay. So I'm going to turn this on, and you'll see it's all kind of going to get incorporated. I'm going to get a spatula so that I can scrape the sides down. But see what's going on in there?
Yep.
Okay.
The flour's getting all blended into that wet mixture that you created with the yeast and the flavorings. And
we like the bread.
Yeah.
And I just love that. You can just smell that yeast starting to really
do its
activate.
thing.
Yeah, I'm going to scrape down We're going to mix a little bit more, and I'm going to come on back. Okay, check it out, Ralph. So this is our 3 cups of flour, right, and all the other ingredients. So they're blended.
Still looks kind of wet though, too wet to knead.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our orange zest. Again, I did 2 oranges. I'm going to measure out about 2 tablespoons, and of course, this orange zest. Give a smell. Smell how intense.
I stuck the camera in there like the camera could smell it.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah. That way you know it's not cheddar cheese.
And
well, that would be good in some bread too.
Yeah, it would be.
But yeah, I love that orange zest. That's a great.
So we're going to put that in. I've drained our raisins. I'm going to put those raisins in. Okay.
What if you soaked them in rum?
Ooh, that would be good.
You could make rum raisin bread, orange thingamajig.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to gradually add more flour, probably about 3 cups.
Oh yeah, because you said 6 total, didn't you?
Yeah. So I'm just leaving the mixer on low.
And then slowly add the
cup
flour
at a time until the dough. What will happen is the dough will start to stiffen and it will pull away from the sides of the bowl. Okay. So there's one more cup. See what's happening?
Yeah, I can see it's already thickening and aerating at the same time.
So now let's go in for.
And yes, as you mentioned, you can really smell the yeast. So this is your second. I mean, your second of the second 3 cups. So this is your 5th cup.
5th cup of flour. I'm going to put it in gradually, and then once this gets mostly in, I'll stop it and. Yeah, see now it's really pulling away, you can see. See? But what I want to do is just scrape the sides down a little bit here.
Just to make sure it's all integrated in there properly.
Exactly. Good thing to do whenever you're making a dough. And we just love this bread. We took it to a birthday party a couple weeks ago and everybody just loved it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this was the big hit of the party, yeah. Or one of the hits, I should say.
And like I said, I've got all this yeast now, so I'm really going to be into doing some bread baking. And
so
this is our 6th cup.
Yeah, and did you say you bought like a big block of yeast?
I did. It was a big block of yeast. I don't know why. I just saw, oh, I should get that.
Well, maybe you knew it would encourage you to bake more. But I never saw yeast in a block. Is it just, I mean, does it just...
I mean, it comes in a kind of a vacuum pack thing.
Oh, okay.
And you can buy it that way. And once you buy it, then put it in a sealable container. Look, here's what I did. Okay? I put it in a, you know, look at all that
Tupperware.
yeast I have.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So, look out. It's going to be Bread City, USA around here.
Good. Bring it on.
So I'm going to take this down again, and the dough is still a little bit sticky, so I'm going to add in a little bit more flour. Anyways, we're going to come back once this is all, maybe another half cup. And
so this is kind of by intuition. It's not a precision
It's not
thing.
precise, but you want it to, like I said there, it's leaving the side of the bowl.
Oh,
okay,
so that's
see?
how you know when it's consistency. Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change from the kind of the paddle. I'm going to put my dough hook on. Now, if you don't have a mixer like this, that's okay. You can knead by hand. And I know we've made bread on this site before, and you can see how I hand knead. I'm going to let the mixer do the work today, and I'm going to.
He's going to get his dough hook on
because it needs to knead for about 5 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll be back.
And in the meantime, I'm going to grease the bowl. Okay. So I'm going to let the dough rest in this because it has to rise. And then a trick that I do is I set the oven to its lowest possible temperature, and once it's there, I shut it off. And this is going to be my warm little.
It'll be your warm place, your warm space.
For letting the dough rise.
The dough rise. Got it.
Okay.
3, 2, go.
Okay, I put the dough hook on. Scraping down. We'll do it again. And again, you can knead this by hand. I'm letting the mixer do the kneading for me. So what kneading does is it kind of develops the gluten in the flour, which is when the yeast puts out its little gas, it it actually gets trapped within the gluten, and that's what forces the dough to rise. Okay,
so it's a very important step, in other words.
It is an important step.
And you've done it by hand, like you said, in some of our other videos, but this is one we're letting Captain Hook do. Exactly.
So we're gonna let the machine knead the dough here for a few more minutes, and then while it's doing that, I'm gonna get our bowl greased. And again, I just got a little pat here of margarine, and I'm gonna just kind of smear this around so that the bowl is coated, and that's it. This is really to keep the dough, of course, from sticking. It also adds a little moisture to the dough as well.
Kevin's multitasking. He's got the machine doing its thing. He's doing his thing.
Well, if you have them, you know, the whole reason of having a big mixer is so that you can do stuff like this. But you know, I didn't always have a mixer like this, and I was kneading dough by hand is a good exercise, a good way to get out certain frustrations if you want.
Well, that's good, because you know what you're doing. If I was here, it'd be like I Love Lucy, and that thing would be going all over the kitchen, I'm sure.
So what I'm going to do is we'll come back when we get the dough ready to put in the bowl.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. There's our nice dough kneaded up.
Yeah, that machine did a great job in kneading it up. And now you just have to do what?
I'm just kind of
shaping
it into a nice ball here. Okay. And we're going to put it in our bowl. I've got a little towel. I'm going to set that over here. And again, we've got our... Okay, so we've had the dough in the oven about an hour and a half.
So people can check on their own dough to see if it's risen, right? And that's what you did.
And you know, you want it to at least double in size.
Oh, yeah,
hello there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, I'm gonna warm the oven up a little bit. Now I'm gonna bring this over here. So when you can put a couple of fingers in the dough and the indentation stays,
like a soft
you know it's
ball.
Good. Right.
Pillsbury Doughboy.
And you can see it's not sticking because we greased the bowl, remember?
Yes. Margarine.
So what I'm going to do now is take this. We're going to put a little flour on my cloth here so things don't stick. Then what I want to do is I want to cut that in half. Remember, we're making 2 loaves. So we'll try to do it even Steven here. Okay, there we go. We'll start with 1.
Sure smells good.
So what we're going to do is we're going to roll.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to get kind of a
rectangle.
Rectangle going, okay.
You can see the raisins in there.
Yeah, I can smell the orange, the raisins, the yeast.
Flecks. Whoop. It's sticking. I should have put a little more flour down.
So you kind of thin it out, roll it out into a rectangular shape.
Yeah. Okay. Then, we haven't put the cinnamon in yet. We're going to. I've got a little cinnamon sugar mix here already. If you don't have this, you can just make your own. I'm going to put a nice amount of cinnamon and sugar on the dough.
Okay.
Okay. Then, here we go. We're going to roll. Roll, roll.
Wow, so
roll,
it's almost like a big
roll, roll.
Big burrito.
Yeah. Then we're going to kind of tuck in the ends. Okay. You with me so far?
I think so.
Now, let me just pinch this closed a little bit down here. I didn't do it very neatly, although it'll all kind of stick together. We're going to put it in this bread pan.
With the pinch side down?
Yes, pinch side down, flatten it out. Now, put a little bit more flour here. We're going to take our next half, and I'm going to do the same. Now, what we're going to have to do is once we have this rolled out, we're going to put this back in the oven and let it rise a second time before we bake it off.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, remember when we put them in?
Yep, for the second rise.
Yes, second rise. We'll take these out. Hello!
Look at that.
Look how, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, no, this is all just pre-baked. This is just rising, right?
Right, this is the second rise. Now, what we have to do is I'm going to turn the oven on to 375.
So the oven was just warm. It wasn't
just
baking.
Yeah, I just, like I said, just kept the oven warm.
Okay.
And then once the oven gets up to temperature, we're going to put the bread in for about, half an hour. And then one thing that I find is sometimes the bread, the crust gets dark, like before the bread's done baking. So I always keep a little sheet of foil on hand. And if that ever happens, if the crust kind of gets to the color you like it and you don't want it to get any darker and you still have some time left on the baking, then I just lay the foil over the crust and it'll keep it from getting any more brown.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep that ready.
So that's just ready in case.
So what we'll do is these have had their second rise, so once we get up to temperature, we'll bake it, and then we'll come back. So my bread has browned as much as I want it to brown. And so what I'm going to do, Ralph, is just put that tin foil on top, these last 5 minutes or so. That way it won't get any more brown. It smells so good in here. I'm going to put the bread baking.
So explain again about what that tin foil, when to put the tin foil in and why you do that?
If depending on your oven and how brown you like the crust, I don't want mine real dark brown.
Oh, okay.
So what I did.
You're saying the inside cooks faster than the outside.
Yeah. Well, no, the outside.
I mean, the outside cooks.
The top will cook faster
real
than
brown
the inside.
faster.
So just to keep the top from getting like really dark.
Right.
Before the half hour is up, the total baking time. The last 5 or 10 minutes. You may want to do what I did, which is just cover it with the foil.
Just cover lightly with tin foil to keep it from over browning.
We'll have it out in about 5 minutes, and
it does smell good.
And then we'll get it cool. We're going to take our bread out of the oven. You can smell the orange. We can smell that yeasty bread.
The raisiny, cinnamony yumminess. And so you're going to also make a frosting, you said, for this?
We're going to make an icing. We're going to make an orange icing for it, but it's
too hot now.
Too hot now. We're not going to let the bread cool completely before we ice it, but it needs to cool some. Now, if you can hear this, you hear that?
Come in.
That's how bread should sound. You'll know it's done. Kind of almost like it's hollow inside.
Hollow, okay.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is we're going to flip it out so that it can really cool. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Look at that.
He's flipping out. He's flipping out over here. All right. So
we are flipping our loaf.
I like how it comes out so easily. That's because of the way you.
Well, we grease the pan, but this will allow the bread to cool to
more
get
quickly.
Them out of the hot pans.
Yeah, good.
So 2 beautiful loaves. We'll ice those up in a little bit.
All right.
All right.
Time to frost the bread.
Yep, our beautiful bread. It's still warm, but not hot anymore. Look what I did, Ralph. I put a piece of wax paper underneath the cooling rack, and here's why.
Oh,
because when we ice it, it'll drip down, and then that way it makes for an easy cleanup on the counter. So I had 2 small oranges. Remember, we put zest inside the dough,
right?
And then this is the zest that I have left over. And of course, we want to use it. I'm going to put that in. I got about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar there. We may use a little bit more. Then I juiced those oranges, and this is what I got. Now, I don't know if I'll need all the juice, but what I'm going to do is, if you've ever made icing with powdered sugar, it really dissolves in just a little bit of liquid. It doesn't take much. And a lot depends is how thick that you want your icing to be.
So in terms of measurements, so what would you tell people you've put so far?
Well, I probably put in a tablespoon and a half.
Okay, and now
here's another tablespoon. Okay, see, look how it's already.
Yeah, starting to kind of gel or getting kind of gummy.
But between the zest and the juice, it is a beautiful orange color.
What you're wanting it to do, right?
Exactly. I actually want to make a little bit more. I'm going to put in another quarter cup and maybe another teaspoon.
Why not? Since you have it, you have that orange juice.
If you don't want, I like a lot of icing on this bread. If you don't like a lot of icing, then you don't have to add more. But you've got the stuff, so make as much as you think you want. And then you want it thick. If it's runny, put more powdered sugar in, okay? You want it thick like this, okay? And this is just something that you kind of just have to do. If it's too thin, it won't stick.
Okay. So
okay? If it's too thick, it's gonna be hard to put on.
So if it's runny, you better go catch it.
I'm gonna just get a little bit more.
So it has to be the right consistency.
And there we go. Yes, the right consistency, Ralph. And again, you know, it's kind of by the eye. So we've probably put in about 2 cups of powdered sugar, and we've probably put in about maybe 3 tablespoons of orange juice plus the zest.
That's the liquid. Okay.
Okay. Now I use a brush for this, and I just do this. I just like you, Ralph, I just paint. We just paint this over the top.
I like how you can see the orange zest in the frosting or in the icing.
Icing, yeah. And because the bread is still warm, the icing will melt a little bit, which is another reason why you want to make sure that it's on the thick side, because the warmth of the bread will loosen the icing.
So do you just really want to put the icing on the top and let it drip
yes.
down?
Mm-hmm. That's it. Just put it on the top.
You don't need to brush it onto the sides.
Nope. And then let gravity take its course.
Let Mother Nature do her thing.
That's right. So
Phyllis Physics.
Then once the icing sort of dries, you know, it will become sort of you know, it will become stiffer, and it will just be part of the bread, and then you can go ahead and slice it. I will tell you, this bread, it would be excellent in a couple of days for French toast.
Wow.
It's wonderful toasted. It's just
even with all the frosting or icing on it?
Sure, why not?
I mean, for French toast?
For French toast, because, you know, maybe if we have time, we'll come back when we cut into this bread so that people can see the inside.
Yeah, I hope
Remember,
so.
It's going to have that swirl from the cinnamon. Anyways, I'm just going to finish putting this icing on. Okay, Ralph, our loaves have kind of set up for, I guess about an hour or so.
Those look great.
Don't they look beautiful? So, how about we cut in?
I say that's a capital idea.
So you can see the glaze has just sort of kept its place.
No, it's not too warm to cut or anything.
No. And ooh, there it is.
You can see all the...
Well, we don't have too much of... You can see a bit of the swirl here. And that's where the roll started.
Oh, wait, let me get the camera up.
So,
do that again.
Let me cut. I'm going to cut another piece, because
why not?
I know we're going to eat more than one. Who are we kidding? There we go. There. See that swirl? Isn't that beautiful? And then we have, you know, the raisins throughout.
Now, could you eat that with some ice cream?
Mmm.
Some butter, some jam,
yeah.
jelly.
Be great with ice cream. Be great.
Coffee.
Just great how it is. Toasted, with butter,
with your
without butter, with coffee, with
favorite
tea.
Warm beverage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really good.
And it's really beautiful. Great for the holidays too. You bring this over to somebody's house instead of a fruit cake, which not everybody's into. This has elements of that. You know, it has the citrus the peel, and you know it
The
has the
raisins.
raisins.
Sweet flavors of
Yeah.
cinnamon and sugar.
So it almost is too reminiscent, a little bit of a. There's a German bread called a Stollen, which is sort of like this. It has a lot more fruit in it, and it's a little denser. But anyways, so you know what? We had a great time baking this bread. Hope you had a great time being with us. Thanks for joining us, and you know what? We'll see you next time on Cavalcade of Food.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.